Right guys, so today we're going to be doing a walkthrough of my remake of Route 94's track My Love featuring Jess Glynn. This was a big classic back in the day and has millions and millions of views on Spotify and YouTube. If you want to download this project and can't be asked to watch the video, you can. It'll be available in my Patreon. The link for that is below. Right, let's get on with the video. Right guys, so let's start from the top. Here we've got the piano, which is a Korg M1. I've gone for the piano 8 and the piano 16. I have left some of the reverb on here, as you can see. Also on the insert effects, there's still some hall reverb, also a tiny bit of stereo chorus. This is making the sound a bit wider. Yep, so in terms of the MIDI, it looks like this. We are in, what are we in? G sharp minor. If you want to have a look at the chords, you can pause it here. Maybe make it a bit wider. Pause it here and copy them. Yeah. And yeah, so it's pretty simple-ish progression. I've stolen it straight from the original. So it's a pretty simple progression, but it's iconic. Most people recognise that. Underneath it, we've got this bass. It's just sitting under it. Let's look up the bass patch. In the oscillator A, we've got this basic MDC. So if you go in here, analog MDC. I'm not too sure what famous synth that is, but it's basically a sawtooth. But as you can see, it's got a little bit of like squiggleness about it, giving it a bit of flavour. We've then got the MDC again. So it would look like that, but I'll change the wave position to look like this. And this is basically just sitting under it quite quietly, but thickening out the low end a little bit. It's very subtle though. You could do without it, to be honest. Probably wouldn't notice. But we've then got this filter without it. So this filter's being controlled by envelope 1 down here. And I've got a really long decay. Also a bit of release so it doesn't stop, otherwise it's gonna be clicking. So add a bit of release, smoothing it out a bit. We've then got the effects. We've got this distortion hard clip without it. So this is just fatten it up a bit. Then got this hyper. Probably turn it down a little bit. Adding a bit of stereo to the sound. Just put it in mono because it wasn't in mono before. It needs to be, all bass should be in mono, or at least the blow end should be anyway. We then got this compressor, so it was making the quieter louder, or sorry, the louder quieter, which makes all the sound signal more of the same level. We've then got this compressor side-chaining it to the kick so that the kick can punch through the mix. Then got this auto filter. Let's have a look. And yeah, so in the intro, when it's just the piano, this bass sort of fades in underneath that piano. So at first you don't really notice it, but then as it builds, you can hear the high frequencies come in, and you can hear it a lot more just before it goes into the drop, where it's just on its own. Great, so next we have this group. This is the kick group. So, sorry, the kick group. Oh, the drum group. If I solo just the 2 kicks, one's actually not a kick. So the first is like this, quite a thumpy kick. Then the original there's quite a lot of high end, so sort of anything between like 1500, look. So everything above 500 hertz is quite dominant in the kick in the main track. So to replicate that, I've got a kick snare. So it's basically just a snare, and I've done it exactly the same MIDI as the kick. So duplicated it and then taken out all the low end of the snare. Without it, it would sound like this. Added a bit of saturation to give it a bit more grit and warmth. So then after that, layered with the original. So it adds, it's of its day. Now that wouldn't probably run. You probably think, what a load of shit. But this is quite an old track. Trying to not get copyright. So you can hear it, it's sort of layered with a snare. Maybe not the exact same snare as this. More of a snappy snare, I'd say, but still layered with a snare, it sounds. So then we move on to the processing. All we've got is a drum bass, so, and the compression bit is turned on. The transient bit is turned up to make it a bit more punchy. We've then got the drums, oh sorry, the claps. So the first one, got a bit of reverb coming from the send channel. So if you look at this, 100% wet, 2.5 seconds of decay time. Basically just making it less harsh without it. And with it, it adds a bit more atmosphere to it. Then this is a classic 909 clap, also got reverb on it. Without it, with it. Again, I'm just doing exactly what they're doing in the original. It's adding lots of reverb to their claps. This is something you can definitely do in overkill, so I would be careful with this because you don't want to drown out the signal of the clap too much. But yeah, this does sort of give it its own space and makes it less harsh to the listener. We've then got this open hat. We'll start with the second one. So in the original, there's quite a, sort of like a shaker. And it's quite hard to find a sample of the same sort of pitch and frequency. But I did settle for this in the end. I was playing around pitching it up, so you can pitch it up, that's fine. I then layered this with a lot of reverb. Well, not that much reverb, but a fair bit. I've also taken out any of the low end. Oh yeah, so the reverb's coming from the send channel. Just softening it up slightly, so it's the same reverb that's on the clap. We've then got this open hat with reverb from that same send channel, this one. Without it. With it. So this gives it a bit more space and softens it a bit. We've then got this reverb and also an EQ. So together they sound like this. So it's actually quite nice. So like a shaker and a 909 hat at the same time. So then we've got this white noise. I did find on the original the effects used were minimal. So on a lot of today's tracks there's a lot of different white noises, risers and all this bollocks. Whereas on this it was very, and I found a lot of the elements were done well and done simply. And yeah, it wasn't about overcomplicating the track. It was just, yeah, the elements that were in there worked nicely together rather than trying to add 110 things to be the best producer ever. It was all about just like sort of piano, the drums and the vocal and the bass, of course. Yeah, simple and it worked. We then got the vocal. Quality of this isn't the greatest, so I do apologise. I have added a reverb, a delay, which comes in. Oh, should come in only at the drop. Oh, sorry, on the drop bits, just to add a bit more movement to them. We've then got this compressor, so again, side chain to the kick, allowing the kick to punch through. After that, we've got this pad. So I've made this in wavetable. If you want to try and copy this, it's pretty simple. Pretty much drag the wavetable, change the oscillator to this, and take away some of the high end. I then added a bit of LFO from LFO 1, LFO rate, LFO 2 onto the amp. So if I exaggerate that. So yeah, it's just giving a bit of movement, and you can hear it add a character behind the piano before the second drop. So it sounds like this. About it. Yeah, so it's subtle, but it's there in the original, and it just adds a bit of thickness to the piano before the build. We've then got this ARP. I'll tell you, I'm not the happiest with this ARP. Couldn't get the notes right. I will admit that. So this is the patch. It's not the most accurate patch. Could be better. Maybe open up the filter a little bit. So essentially all the sounds coming from this, so analog, PMG, and then change the wavetable position slightly. Yeah, and we've then got this envelope. Oh, no, there, what's controlling the filter? I can't even remember. It must be on here, yeah, so, in fact. Oh, macro 1, so cut off. So yeah, I've done that basically so you can bring it in, and then you could draw it in over here, look. But yeah, I'm not the happiest with this. I will say it's probably my least favourite part that I've done of the remake. But that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and comment down below what videos you want next. Thank you. Bye.